The Lost Compass and the Guiding Star. Chapter 1. The Infallible Compass. Alara was a name whispered with awe across the known lands. A name synonymous with daring exploration and unparalleled success. At a mere 25 years old, she had already charted more uncharted territories than explorers twice her age. Her reputation built on a foundation of audacious journeys and triumphant returns. Her secret, or so everyone believed, lay not in her keen intellect or her robust spirit, but in a small, intricately carved brass instrument that hung perpetually from her belt. The Sunstone Compass. It was said to be magically infallible, its needle always pointing true, regardless of magnetic interference, magical distortions, or the most cunning of illusions. With the Sunstone Compass as her guide, Alara had navigated the treacherous Serpent's Pass, found the hidden oasis of Whispering Sands, and even scaled the perilous peaks of the Dragon's Tooth Mountains. Her confidence, while well-earned, bordered on arrogance, a quiet certainty that no challenge could withstand the unerring guidance of her prized possession. She rarely consulted maps, for the compass was her map, her destiny etched in its unwavering spin. Her current quest was the most ambitious yet: to locate the fabled sunken city of Eredor. Legends spoke of Eredor as a place of immense ancient wisdom, a city swallowed by the earth centuries ago, its secrets guarded by time and forgotten paths. Many had sought it, none had found it. But Alara, with her infallible compass, felt an unshakable conviction that she would be the one to uncover its mysteries. She pictured the city, grand and glittering, its knowledge waiting to be claimed. She was ready, or so she thought, for anything the world could throw at her, as long as her compass remained true. Chapter 2. The Storm and the Loss. Alara ventured into the Whispering Peaks, a region notorious for its volatile weather and unpredictable magical currents. The air grew heavy, charged with an unseen energy, and the usual crisp mountain breeze turned into an ominous sigh. She consulted her compass, its needle spinning confidently, reassuring her that she was on the correct, albeit challenging, path. She pressed on, her gaze fixed on the distant, jagged silhouettes of the peaks, her mind already envisioning the ancient city nestled within their embrace. Suddenly, without warning, the sky ripped open. A violent tempest, unlike any Alara had ever witnessed, descended upon the mountains. Blinding flashes of lightning tore through the dark clouds, illuminating the peaks in stark, momentary brilliance, followed by deafening roars of thunder that echoed through the valleys. The wind howled, a furious, living entity that clawed at her cloak and threatened to rip her from her footing. Magical energies crackled in the air, disorienting and disorienting, making the very ground beneath her feet tremble. Alara fought against the onslaught, her hand instinctively clutching her precious Sunstone Compass. But the storm was too fierce, too overwhelming. A particularly violent gust, imbued with raw magical force, tore at her, throwing her off balance. Her fingers, numb with cold and shock, lost their grip. In a horrifying, slow-motion instant, she watched as the compass, her infallible guide, spun through the air, a glint of brass against the chaotic sky, before vanishing into the gaping maw of a deep, unseen chasm that had opened up during the tempest. The silence that followed the compass's disappearance was more deafening than the storm itself. Alara stood drenched and shivering, not from the cold, but from a profound, bone-deep terror. Her guide, her security, her very identity as an explorer, was gone. The familiar landscape of the Whispering Peaks now seemed alien and hostile. She was utterly disoriented, physically lost in the unforgiving mountains, and emotionally adrift in a sea of panic and despair. The sunken city, once a beacon of triumph, now felt like an impossible, mocking dream. Chapter 3. Despair and the First Glimmer. Days blurred into a haze of desperate, fruitless searching. Alara stumbled through the rain-slicked terrain, her eyes scanning every crevice, every rock formation, for any sign of her lost compass. The storm had not only stolen her guide, but had also reshaped the familiar landscape, making every turn a new, bewildering challenge. Paths she thought she knew were gone, replaced by rock slides and swollen streams. Her once unshakable confidence crumbled, replaced by a gnawing sense of helplessness. She, Alara, the renowned explorer, was utterly, hopelessly lost. Her identity, so intricately woven with her ability to navigate, felt shattered. She tried to retrace her steps, relying on memory, but the mountains seemed to mock her efforts, presenting endless, identical ridges and valleys. Hunger gnawed at her, and the cold seeped into her bones, but the deepest chill was the one that settled in her heart. What was an explorer without her compass? What was Alara without her infallible guide? She curled into a small, miserable ball beneath a meager overhang, the vast, indifferent sky stretching above her. As night fell, painting the sky in bruised purples and deep blues, Alara felt a despair so profound it threatened to consume her. She had always looked down, at the compass, at the map, at the path directly before her. But in this moment of utter desolation, with nothing left to lose, her gaze drifted upwards. The clouds had parted, revealing a canvas of glittering stars, more brilliant than she had ever seen. And then she saw it. A single star, brighter than all the rest, pulsed with a gentle, steady light. It didn't point a direction, didn't offer a clear path, but it radiated a profound sense of calm, a quiet reassurance that pierced through her panic. It was the guiding star. She had heard tales of it, a mythical beacon for those truly lost, but had always dismissed them as fanciful. Now, in her darkest hour, it seemed to wink at her, not with a solution, but with a silent invitation. It wasn't a compass, demanding to be followed, but a presence, a soft glow in the vast darkness. For the first time in days, a tiny, fragile spark of hope flickered within Alara. Perhaps, just perhaps, being lost wasn't the end, but a different kind of beginning. Chapter 4. Learning to Listen. The faint glimmer from the guiding star was not a map, but a feeling, a gentle nudge that whispered, "Move." Alara rose, stiff and sore, but with a newfound resolve. She no longer searched for a path, but for cues. She began to walk, not with the confident stride of an explorer following an infallible compass, but with the tentative steps of someone learning to dance to a new rhythm. Her ears, once tuned only to the rustle of her own movements or the distant roar of a waterfall, now strained to catch the subtle murmurs of the whispering wind. It carried the faint, sweet scent of distant pine forests, suggesting higher ground, or the damp, earthy smell of a hidden spring. She learned to discern the direction from which the freshest air blew, hinting at open spaces, or the way the wind sighed through the trees, signaling a change in elevation. Her eyes, previously fixed on the compass needle, now began to truly see the world around her. She noticed the way moss grew thicker on the north side of ancient trees, a tiny, consistent compass in itself. She followed the subtle trails left by deer and rabbits, understanding that animals, too, sought the easiest and safest routes to water and shelter. The flow of streams, though winding, always led downhill, eventually to larger bodies of water. The flight patterns of birds, particularly those returning to nests, offered clues about nearby clearings or safe havens. Alara stumbled often. She took wrong turns, found herself at dead ends, and sometimes, in moments of frustration, longed for the simple, unwavering certainty of her lost compass. But with each mistake she learned. Her senses sharpened, her intuition grew stronger. The subtle internal nudges, once easily dismissed, became clearer, more insistent. It was a slow, arduous process, but with every successful navigation of a small obstacle, every discovery of a hidden berry bush or a sheltered alcove, a quiet confidence began to bloom within her. She was no longer just an explorer. She was becoming a part of the landscape, attuned to its rhythms, guided by its silent wisdom. Chapter 5. The Ancient Guardians and the Inner Map. Days turned into weeks, and Alara, guided by her sharpened senses and burgeoning intuition, found herself in a part of the whispering peaks she had never seen before, even with her compass. Here, scattered seemingly at random across the landscape, stood colossal stone figures, weathered by millennia, their faces eroded by wind and rain. These were the ancient stone guardians, spoken of in hushed tones in old legends, said to mark paths only visible to those with a true heart for exploration. At first, Alara dismissed them. They seemed to have no logical pattern, no discernible alignment that would indicate a direction. Her old self, the one who relied on precise measurements and unwavering needles, would have found them frustratingly useless. But the new Alara, the one who listened to the whispering wind and trusted the subtle pull of her own spirit, paused. She walked among them, not looking for a direct arrow, but for a feeling, a resonance. She noticed how the light fell on certain carvings at different times of day, how the wind seemed to hum a particular tune when passing between two specific guardians, how the moss on their surfaces formed patterns that subtly mirrored the constellations above. It was not a map to be read with a compass, but a map to be felt with the soul. As she connected these seemingly disparate observations, a profound realization dawned on her. The guardians weren't pointing to a path. They were the path, revealing themselves only to those who had learned to see beyond the obvious. Suddenly, a hidden passage, almost perfectly camouflaged by overgrown vines and cleverly placed rocks, revealed itself between two of the largest guardians. It was a path that no compass could have ever indicated, a path that required not external direction, but internal alignment. Elara stepped onto it, a sense of profound rightness settling over her. She understood then that the true map to any great discovery wasn't etched on parchment or contained within a brass casing. It was woven into the fabric of the world, and more importantly, into the very core of her being, waiting for her to learn how to read it. Chapter 6. The Sunken City and a New Purpose. The hidden passage led Elara deeper into the heart of the mountains, through winding tunnels and across ancient, forgotten bridges. The air grew thick with the scent of damp earth and forgotten magic. Finally, the passage opened into a vast, cavernous space, bathed in a soft, ethereal glow filtering down from unseen openings above. And there it was, not the grand, glittering metropolis she had once envisioned, but the sunken city of Eredor. It was a ruin, yes, but a ruin imbued with a profound, quiet beauty. Overgrown with luminous moss and delicate, clinging vines, its once proud spires and intricate carvings now blended seamlessly with the natural rock formations. Water, crystal clear and still, collected in ancient plazas, reflecting the soft light like polished obsidian. There were no grand treasures, no piles of gold or jewels, no libraries filled with dusty, forgotten scrolls. The wisdom of Eredor was not contained in physical objects, but in the palpable sense of peace and interconnectedness that permeated the very air. Elara walked through its silent streets, her footsteps echoing softly in the vastness. She touched the cool, smooth stone, feeling the centuries of quiet contemplation embedded within. The city didn't demand anything, it simply was. And in its quiet presence, Elara understood. Her quest had not been about finding a destination, a place to conquer or claim. It had been about finding herself, about shedding the external crutches and discovering the boundless inner landscape that had always been there. She realized that claiming Eredor, or even revealing its precise location to the world, would diminish its profound lesson. Its wisdom lay in its hiddenness, in the journey required to find it, and in the inner transformation that journey demanded. Elara made a silent vow. She would not disturb its peace. Instead, she would become its quiet guardian, a keeper of its secret, ready to share the wisdom of inner guidance with those who truly sought it, not with a compass, but with an open heart and a spirit willing to listen to the subtle whispers of the world. Chapter 7. The Explorer Transformed. Elara returned to the world, but she was not the same explorer who had vanished into the whispering peaks. The Sunstone Compass, once her identity, was now a distant memory, a symbol of a past reliance she had outgrown. She still embarked on journeys, but her expeditions were no longer driven by the thrill of conquering the unknown with an infallible tool. Instead, they were quests of understanding, of connection, and of sharing the profound wisdom she had unearthed within herself. Her quiet confidence radiated, a beacon more powerful than any compass. When others, lost and disoriented, sought her guidance, she didn't point them in a direction on a map. Instead, she taught them to listen. She spoke of the whispering wind, not as a meteorological phenomenon, but as a subtle messenger of intuition. She encouraged them to observe the patterns in nature, to feel the pull of their own inner compass, to trust the gentle glow of their personal guiding star. Elara's journeys became less about reaching a specific destination, and more about the transformative power of the path itself. She helped others understand that true discovery wasn't always about finding something new in the external world, but often about uncovering the hidden strengths and wisdom within themselves. She showed them that resilience wasn't just about enduring hardship, but about adapting, learning, and finding new ways forward when old paths disappeared. And so, Elara, the explorer transformed, continued her life's work. Her legacy was not etched in the maps she drew, but in the countless lives she touched, guiding them not with a compass, but with the profound truth that the most valuable discoveries are always found within, and that even when all external guides are lost, the inner light of intuition will always show the way. If you enjoyed Elara's journey of self-discovery and the lessons of the lost compass and the guiding star, please click share and subscribe for more stories that illuminate the paths within. Until next time, may your own inner guiding star shine brightly.